When you interviewed Kouri on the day of Mr. Richins' death, you mentioned that she told you she came back into the bed around 3 a.m. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you ever ask her how long she was in the bed with Eric before she realized he was cold to the touch?
From my understanding, it was almost immediately.
Okay. All right. And you reviewed the 911 call that we all heard here today, right? You listened to the 911 call.
I haven't today, and I don't remember listening to it.
Okay. You never listened to the 911 call?
I might have at some point, but I don't remember it.
And she certainly, Kouri Richins never told you, hey, my husband's a big drug addict. He's probably overdosed. Check for drugs. She did the opposite, right?
Correct.
She told you he was pretty healthy.
Yes.
I think that's all I have. Anything else? That's all. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. Enjoy the dog.
Thank you.
No, Your Honor.
May we release this witness?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge.
Deputy, you're free to go. Watch the case. Don't watch the case. It's entirely up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Mr. Bloodworth, I've lost track of the witness list for today. Another witness from the state for today?
Your Honor, the state would next call Todd Gabler.
Okay, let's do it. You folks okay to keep going? Very good. A brief point of privilege. Everybody just stay put for 1 moment. This will make sense in a moment. Mr. Gabler, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Would you mind stamping in front of Brittany?
If you'll please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter before the court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat.
Sir, take your time and please watch your step.
Thank you. All right, how's this?
Sound great.
Great.
Mr. Bloodworth, please proceed.
Sir, what is your name?
My name is Todd Gabler, Gabler.
You appear to be recovering from something.
Yes.
Would you mind just at a high level explaining?
On January 13th, I underwent a 5-level PCLF. That's a posterior cervical laminectomy and fusion. My neck has been fused together with titanium rods.
Sir, are you taking any medication today that would affect your testimony?
I purposely did not take any pain medication today for the purpose of the clarity of my mind in my testimony to you today. I took Tylenol this morning.
What, sir, is your occupation?
I'm a licensed private investigator in the state of Utah.
How long have you been a private investigator?
34 years.
What, sir, is your investigative experience that is relevant to this case?
Well, over the course of 34 years, I have worked on approximately 100 homicide cases. I have been active in the trials of perhaps a dozen or maybe more homicide cases over the course of my career. I have extensive experience in a specialty in digital forensics, which allows me to examine digital devices, phones, computers, other things of a digital nature to uncover information that may have been deleted, destroyed, or altered. I can't really think of anything else that is sort of a 30,000-foot view of what would be important to the jurors in this case regarding my experience.
Well, sir, of those 100 or so homicide cases, how many have you worked for the defense?
All of them. I have always sat on that side of the room, standing in between the state and a defendant.
And you mentioned, sir, that you testified about 12 times. Have you ever testified for the state?
Never.
Did there come a time shortly after Eric Richins' death when the estate of Eric Richins hired you as an investigator?
Yes.
Do you recall about when?
I was first contacted by Crystal Bowman-Carter, an attorney. I believe that would have been early to mid-March of 2022. She asked that I contact her client, Katie Richins Benson, regarding the death of her brother, Eric. She gave me a broad sketch of what she knew about what had occurred regarding Eric's death. And it was a very short conversation, very professional, very to the point. And then it was a few more weeks before I first spoke with Katie and Clint. That's Katie Richins Benson and Clint Benson at their home in Summit County. That was April the 1st, 2022.
And was that engagement to investigate the death of Eric Richins?
Well, that was part of the investigation. I was under the impression that I had been hired at the instance of the filing of a lawsuit by the defendant in this case against Katie for the trust money and the control over the trust that Eric Richins had created.
And to be clear, the lawsuit involved Katie Richins as trustee.
Correct.
And when you're interacting with Katie Richins, it is in her capacity as trustee
Correct.
or personal representative of Eric Richins' estate.
Correct.
What, if anything, sir, did you inform at that meeting with Clint and Katie? What, if anything, did you inform them of how you conduct investigations?
Right. So I talked with them about some of the various facets of an investigation, how it would proceed. I've already talked to you about the qualifications that I have in digital forensics, and so I talked a little bit about that, about the need to get a hold of phones and computers and other things that would have evidence of either a wrongful death or some mismanagement of finances that was being alleged in the case. For all my clients, it's basically the same speech. You're hiring me to find the truth. The truth is sometimes very difficult for us to accept. I've often said that the truth is half what you most fear that it is, and half what you most desire it to be. And you cannot separate those two from the truth. I told them that they would have to accept the truth about what happened to their brother, no matter what that truth was. If he took his own life, they would have to accept that. If someone was responsible for his death, they would also have to respect my investigation and accept that truth. They agreed.
Sir, from that point forward, did you conduct an independent investigation?
I did.
Sir, who paid for that investigation?
I was paid by Clint Benson, but my understanding is that the legal sort of line of authority for which I was engaged was for the estate and Kitty Richins Benson as the personal representative.
Did you bill them at your customary rate?
I did. I continued to bill them at the rate that was established at the time of my engagement, even though my hourly rate increased during the course of my investigation. They enjoyed a lower rate essentially because of the time that they engaged me.
Did anyone else pay you for your investigation?
No.
Did anyone from the Summit County Sheriff's Office direct your investigation in any fashion?
No.
Did you conduct your investigation entirely independent of the Sheriff's Office?
Yes.
Did you provide information from your investigation to the Sheriff's Office?
Yes, on many occasions.
And before providing it, did you receive approval from your client?
Yes, that is part of the standard operating procedure. It would be a crime for me to, under the Utah Private Investigators Regulation Act, to have any file materials go to anyone else but my client without my client's permission. So the standard course would be that I would discuss my findings with my client, and we would discuss handing that over to the sheriff's office. In every case, information that we thought important to the investigation was handed over, and there was no event, no occasion upon which we decided not to turn over something to the sheriff's office. Full disclosure. That was the rule.
Sir, was that flow of information one way from you to the Sheriff's Office?
Oh, yes, very much so. I initially tried to get the 911 audio call that the defendant in this case had made, and the sheriff's office denied my request under the Grandma law. I appealed to the county administrator for Summit County. She also denied my request. It's common for police agencies to be one-way streets.
So it was not uncommon for your request for information to be denied?
Correct. My investigation proceeded regardless of whether they were providing me any information or not.
Did you have contact with the Summit County Attorney's Office before Kouri Richins' arrest?
No.
Did anyone from the Summit County Attorney's Office direct your investigation in any fashion?
Never.
Did you conduct your investigation independent of the County Attorney's Office?
Yes.
On June the 15th, 2023, after Kouri Richins' arrest, did you receive a subpoena from the County Attorney's Office for your investigative file and any forensic data that you had collected?
I did.
Did you provide that material to the county attorney's office in response to that subpoena?
I did. I produced 2 hard drives. One contained what I call the logical and physical investigation file. That would be interviews, audio recordings, photographs, videos. That was a fairly large file. And then the second hard drive that I provided a few weeks later was all the computer forensics, the digital forensics, the examinations of the C&E computer, a clone of Eric's iPhone, and some other digital data.
Did you begin your investigation with a hypothesis?
Yes. A number of hypotheses appeared clear to me in this case. My investigations are hypothesis testing exercises. That's just a fancy way of talking about something that we all do every day. We look at a situation and we evaluate what that is. Is there evidence that supports our hypothesis that that is what it is? Well, if we're looking at a red light, our hypothesis may be that traffic should be stopped, and we look around for data to verify that hypothesis, that indeed there are cars that are stopped at that red light. In this case, it was clear to me that 2 hypotheses needed to be looked at. Number 1, Eric took his own life as a matter of accidental overdose. Number 2, Kouri Richins surreptitiously had Eric ingest a massive amount of fentanyl and killed him. So, as the case proceeds, and I see new data, I see phone data, I see computer data, I interview people, I look at documents or things or other devices. All of that data gets fed into one of those 2 hypotheses, both of those hypotheses. Does this confirm it? Does it deny it? Does this evidence make it more likely that this hypothesis is true or less likely that this hypothesis is true? Does this evidence preclude the possibility of one of the hypotheses being true? So that hypothesis testing continues throughout the investigation, and sometimes a permutation of the hypothesis comes along. We have to change the hypothesis just a little bit to allow some of the data to fit that hypothesis. Not large permutations in this case, pretty straightforward. 2 competing hypotheses.
Sir, you just mentioned that in testing your hypotheses, you conducted some interviews.
Yes.
What, sir, is your process for conducting interviews?
So my process is to always have a recording device active for any of my interviews whenever possible. This eliminates any possibility for me to be biased or unclear in my reporting of what was said during that interview. It also protects me in a liability scenario if someone were to allege that I had done something improper or had offered them material for their cooperation, anything like that. That would all be protection for me by recording that contact. So that is the primary objective of documenting an interview. Later on, when I report it, when I summarize that interview and in writing, because it's hard to get a lawyer to listen to an entire interview. There's some difficulty that they have with that. So they need a summary sheet about what the interview was about. And I type those up based upon the recording that I made, and I typed up those later, or I may have an agent type those for me from the recording, and then I'll review the report and sign off on it, and then it'll go into the file. So that would be my process with respect to an interview, all interviews.
Approximately how many interviews did you conduct in this investigation?
It depends upon your definition of an interview, I guess, but 45, probably, somewhere in that department. 40, I guess I could say 40 to 50 to be safe.
And in those interviews, did you identify yourself?
Oh, yes, always. There was no occasion in this case where I did not identify, give people my true identity and who I represented.
And did you record those interviews?
Yes. I think there were a couple of occasions where I could not get a recorder fast enough. But other than those couple of occasions, they were all recorded.
Who, for example, are some of the people that you interviewed?
I interviewed friends and associates of Eric's. I interviewed friends and associates of Kouri's. I interviewed a number of people involved in Eric's business and personal life. I interviewed family members, both the Richins family, and I attempted to interview family members of Kouri's family, but was not successful in gaining their cooperation for an interview. So that was generally who I interviewed.
And was the purpose to test your hypotheses?
Well, yes, I'm interested in getting those interviews done from as many people as I possibly can from both sides of the camp, so that I can get the largest possible data set to feed into that hypothesis testing scenario.
Did you pass your interview recordings and written reports along to the sheriff's office?
I did.
Sir, as part of your hypothesis testing, did you analyze Kouri and Eric Richins' cell phone billing records?
I did.
How did you obtain the records?
Eric and Kouri's cell phones were being paid by C&E Stonemasonry. They were Verizon accounts, and I obtained the the billing records from C&E, from Allie Wright, with the authorization of Cody Wright. There were 2 productions of telephone records from C&E. The first one was for the period of January 2022 through May of 2022. The second production was May of 2022 through February of 2023.
In that January of 2022 onward time period, what types of information were you looking for in the billing records?
So because the billing records don't really offer content, that is to say it's not you don't get to see text messages or what the text message was, you do get to see the numbers that were connected to Kouri and Eric's phones. So we first of all decode that number to a name. We try and figure out who that is, and we fill in every instance where that number occurs with that name. And then we begin to count the total number of contacts with that phone number. So, for example, we would see the highest number of contacts for Kouri's phone to her mother. Not an unusual circumstance that someone would be close to their mother, and that would be the highest number of contacts on your phone. So that was the procedure that I was initially interested in, was the weight. We call that the weight. So what is the weight of that person on the other end of the line? Kouri's mom was a high weight because there was a high number of contacts. And so I'm interested in how many times you contact that person. Occasionally, I'm interested in what time of day you typically contact that person, and the type of contact, whether that contact is by text message only or by voice and text. That changes the character of the person on the other end of the line.
Sir, did you pass your analysis of contact weight along to the sheriff's office?
I did.
Was there any particular contact weight that caught your attention?
Yes.
What contact did that involve?
It involved the contact with Carmen Lauber. I noted immediately that there were many hundreds of text messages between the two from the initial data set. That was January of 22 through May of 22. There was a very heavy weight. I don't recall if she was the second or third weight, but it was very close. The only two people that I recall that were ahead of Carmen on that weight was Kouri's mom and Eric. So that was the one that stood out to me. There were others that I investigated, but that one was of particular interest to me.
And to be clear, that involved the weight of contacts between Kouri Richins and Carmen Lauber.
That is correct.
Did that contact weight cause you to investigate Carmen Lauber?
It did.
What did you determine?
Well, it was immediately apparent to me that Carmen had a very extensive criminal record involving drug use and potentially drug sales. I noted that Carmen had a dirty urinalysis, meaning that she tested positive for prohibited drugs in her drug court around the time of Eric's death. I was very concerned about the high number of contacts and the criminal history for Carmen, and I alerted the sheriff's office about that.
As part of your investigation, did you search the Richins' home?
Yes.
When did you first search it?
I believe it was May the 8th of 2023. That was the day that it was released by the sheriff's office. It was an estate asset. Kouri's lawyer, two of her lawyers from Ray Quinney Nebaker, had showed up as soon as the sheriff's office had departed. And I had arranged for security to stand watch at the house after the sheriff's office released that. So I engaged in a conversation with counsel who wanted access to the home, and it was eventually agreed that one of the lawyers would accompany me on an inventory of the property, all of the assets in the house, all of the items in the house and the detached garage. And so that lawyer stayed for a couple of hours and then left. I never saw them during my search of the property again. I continued to search the property for 4 or 5 days, and then that was the end of my contact with the house initially.
And what was your process for searching and documenting your search of the Richins' home?
Right. So GoPro video, chest mounted typically, sometimes mounted on the head, and a backup audio recorder just in case something happens to the camera. At least I've got an audio recording of what I'm talking about, where I'm at, what I'm looking at. So that is the procedure for documenting those. There's also photographs that are taken. There are also, with respect to documents, I scanned with a scanner many thousands of pages of documents in this case from the detached garage office. So that was the general procedure for being at the house. There was at least one occasion that I can think of where I was called over to the house and I didn't have my camera with me, so my video camera. So I used the audio recorder and my camera on my cell phone to document things. I think that was in 2024. So with that being the only exception, that would be my process.
And was Clint Benson present at the home whenever you searched the home? And I guess by present, I mean in the home, not necessarily leaning over your shoulder.
That is not an easy question to answer because my focus was not on Clint Benson. My focus is on the things in front of me. I was never in that house without Clint Benson's authorization. I was never in that house without Clint Benson being on his way. So if he wasn't there when I got there, he was on his way there. And so he would join up later. It's possible during the May searches that Clint had left the house while I was documenting things in the house. I think that was particularly true of the detached garage office, where I was spending maybe 8 hours in a day just scanning documents, just feeding documents into a scanning device. So I think Clint was likely not there during that.
He was generally there?
He was generally there, I would say so, yes.
And you were recording with your GoPro the whole time?
Yes, with the exception I noted, yes.
Did you ever remove, well, other than your recording equipment, cameras, audio, GoPro, all of that,
Yeah.
did you ever bring anything into the home?
No, I did not.
Did you ever remove anything from the home?
Yes, I did.
What did you remove from the home?
So during my May searches of the house, and in particular in the detached garage office, I encountered a number of documents that had Ray Quinian Nebeker letterhead on the top, and they were either communications between Kouri and her lawyers, or they were billing records from her lawyers. That would be improper for me to read or possess. It would be unethical. I placed these documents into a manila envelope, and as I encountered more of them, I would simply grab a hold of them and put them into the manila envelope. And at the end of my May search, I took that envelope to the office of Ray Quinian Nebeker and handed it over. There were other things that I removed from the house. Sort of the general category of the kids, the boys' things. The boys had requested a few things. I believe Child Protective Services or someone at DCFS had requested that we get documents that pertain to the boys. And I believe there were some other documents that I removed that were personal documents that were now the property of Katie Richins Benson. These documents involved vital records, birth records for Eric, other vital documents that we would generally safekeep for ourselves, and I turned those over to my client. I'm trying to think if anything else was removed. Any item that I considered to be evidence was removed by the sheriff's office, not me.
So if you came upon something that you considered to be evidence, how did you handle it with the sheriff's office?
I don't think there was a standard approach. I only recall a few occasions. I think the first couple of occasions I may have contacted the sheriff's office directly, either Lieutenant Hemingway or I can't recall any others. And then on one occasion, I contacted Travis, the investigator with your office, and then subsequently spoke to the sheriff's office about removing an item.
And is it your understanding that the sheriff's office would then get a warrant and come to the house to seize whatever item you thought might have evidentiary value?
Yes, I was there for one of those occasions.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any further questions.
Thank you.
Are we going to take a break? Or do you want me to go forward?
You tell me, would you like a break?
Could we have
It's up
just a
to
few
the
minutes?
jurors.
No
Whatever they
problem. You
want.
know what? Let's let you stretch your legs. We'll take a restroom break. The witness asks for a break. We provide a break. All right, the jury. Mr. Gabler, watch your step there. There you go. Mr. Gabler, may I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Would you like the opportunity to use the restroom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm sure you know this, but
Yes.
you cannot speak to anyone during
Yes.
the break. All right. If is 10 minutes enough time, sir?
5 is plenty.
All right, we'll say 10. We'll be off the record until 3:40. Thank you. You can stay seated. They will understand.
I prefer to stand.
Oh, all right. Very good, sir. We're ready for the jury. All right, the jury. Please have a seat. Thank you. All right, folks, have a seat. Thank you. All right, Mr. Gabler, you're still under oath, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ms.
Please,
Nestor,
the court.
please proceed.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Ms. Nestor.
I don't believe you and I have ever met, but I am Kathy, and I'm Kathy Nestor, and I'm one of Ms. Richins' attorneys. So it's nice to meet you. So I want to just kind of start with a basic observation, but just to make it crystal clear. You are not law enforcement, correct?
Correct.
And you've never been law enforcement in your whole life, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the rules and ethics and expected practices of private investigators are significantly different, would you agree with me, than those that apply to licensed law enforcement?
I don't know that I would agree with that in every circumstance. A private investigator, when he is hired by a lawyer, is bound to all the ethics that that lawyer is bound to.
Okay.
So,
But, for example, you don't have to go get a warrant to go look at a house.
well, right, that's the state action distinction.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not a state actor.
Right.
I've never been a state actor.
Right.
I will never be a state actor.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you want to go search a house for 6 straight days and look at thousands of documents, you don't need to get a judge to give you permission to do that, right?
No, I got the permission of Kouri's lawyers who represented her to do that.
And you also got the permission of Clint Benson, right?
Yes.
And in fact, Clint gave you a key,
Yes.
and you had that key to use at your discretion.
Yes.
And there were times when you would go to the house and Clint was not there, and you would let yourself in, right?
I believe that my testimony covered that, and that was that Clint was aware that I was there, and he was either on his way or there with me.
But you agree with me, and you have videos, I believe, that back this up. That there were occasions where you would go to the house, Clint was not there, you'd use your key and you'd go in.
Yes.
And there were occasions where you would be spending hours and hours and hours in the office, because I've
Yes.
watched all the videos,
Yes.
and you would be there alone without Clint anywhere around you.
Yeah, I don't need supervision, counselor.
Perfect.
I was conducting an investigation, independent investigation, and he had given me the key, trusted me with that, and I was authorized to enter the premises at will.
Right. So if he got on the stand and said you were never doing anything outside his eye, that would be false.
Well, from his perspective, he had knowledge of my presence there, as I have testified every time I was there.
Fair.
So from his perspective, it may look different.
But you agree with me, sir, that there's hours and hours and hours of video of you alone in that office going through things.
I think that I've already testified to that.
Okay. Now, you were not permitted access to the house until after Kouri had been arrested, right?
No, that's not correct.
You got in the house before she was arrested?
No, that is not correct.
Okay, help me out.
The house was released by the Summit County Sheriffs on the 8th.
Of
That's
May.
what gave us, that was the trigger, not Corey's arrest. It was the end of their search that triggered our access to the house.
Okay.
The police were executing a warrant.
Do you know when Kouri was arrested, sir?
I don't recall the exact date or
Would
time.
Would it surprise you to be the day before May 7th?
Okay.
All right. So,
Objection, Your Honor, foundation on that.
Was it
Would you
May 8th?
re-ask the question,
Was it
Ms.
May
Nestor?
It was May 8th.
sorry, was it May, would it surprise you if it was the same day, May 8th, that you got access to the house?
It would not surprise me since I do not recall.
Okay. And during the time after Eric's death, but before Kouri's arrest on May 8th, did you ever go inside the house for that entire year?
I'm sorry, could you ask that again?
Sure. During the time between when Eric Richins died on March the 4th,
Yep.
in the early morning hours
Yep.
of 2022,
Yep.
and May 8th of 2023, were you ever inside the house at any point in between those times?
No, never.
Perfect. So the first time you ever got into that house, over a year had expired since Eric had passed.
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned the police had executed a search that day before they released it to you, right?
Yes.
And do you know how many times prior to that the police had searched that house?
No.
Okay. And then you've also testified here, I think very honestly, that on repeated occasions you notified the police, hey, there's something you missed. You might want to go back to the house and find it again.
I mean, I'm not going to adopt your characterization, but it is true that I called them back to that house when I discovered something that I thought was evidentiary.
How many times?
Oh, I don't know, 4, 5.
So on at least 4 to 5 occasions,
Yeah.
you found things the police had missed.
Yeah, oh, that's been my experience throughout my career.
And you
The
told
police
them-
never
sorry.
get everything, ever.
Right. Well, I'm
It's
not going to
true
argue.
in every case I've ever handled.
Sure not going to argue with you on that one.
Yeah, it's true.
So they come back because you call them and say, hey, I found something, come back, here's where it is.
Yep.
And they know you're doing that. They know that you have full access to this house, right?
I don't know what they know. I
They-
can't answer that.
Well, you're calling them every time you find something.
Well, what opinion they formed in their mind is not within my knowledge.
Okay, fair. True, you called them every time you found something.
That I thought was of evidentiary value in their investigation.
And did
True.
any of them ever say, you know what, we're good, stop calling us?
No, I don't recall that at all.
So then the converse of that is they encourage you to keep doing that.
Well, no, that is not the converse of your hypothetical,
Okay.
and I do not agree with your assessment.
Okay? Did you feel like you were helping them
I was following the instructions of my client to turn over anything I thought was relevant to the criminal investigation. This is not my case. My case is in the civil court. Anything that we thought was of value to the criminal case, we turned it over.
And the police were happy with that.
I don't know if they were happy or sad or distraught. I have no idea as to their emotional condition.
They sure never told you to stop.
The police never directed me to do anything, and if they had told me to stop, I would have ignored them.
Okay. So you could go in without a warrant, find something, call them, tell them to get a warrant, and they'd come get it.
I think that's an oversimplification and a vilification. I had permission to enter those premises. I had every right to be there. I didn't need a warrant. I'm not a state actor. I have the permission of the property owner. So I don't agree with your characterization.
When the cops would show up, did you point out what you were showing them? Were you usually there?
No, I was there on one occasion when the police showed up. They executed warrants when I was not there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I only remember one occasion where I found an audio recorder in a dresser drawer that they then recovered by warrant.
And you waited around and pointed it out to them?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I never touched the device. Okay. So, yeah, I would have. I don't know if I pointed it out. I think what I did was, on that date, when I saw the recorder and recognized it for what it was, which is not easy, I just immediately withdrew. I left my audio recorder going until the police arrived. I don't recall pointing it out. I recall describing to them where it was.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. So then, there was one occasion where you found something that was a letter purportedly written by Eric called the My Princess letter. Do you remember that?
I remember a baby cakes letter. I don't know if I remember
That's it.
My Princess. Is that the same one?
That's the one.
Yes.
You remember finding that letter?
August the 9th of 2024 is when I took a photograph of that, but I found it on May the 10th of 2023 during my search of the residence.
So, when you found this letter, at some point, did you move the location that you found it from?
I don't recall ever moving the location. On the video, you will see me find the letter on May the 10th of 2023 when I am in the bedroom, and it is located in the bottom drawer of Eric's side of the bed, the bottom drawer of the vanity. And I looked at it. I didn't think it was relevant. I put it back down on the drawer. On August the 9th of 2024, when I photographed it on the bed, I do not recall if that letter was on the bed or whether I went and retrieved it from the vanity. But there is video. The August 9th, 2024 was the episode that I described that I was called over and I didn't have a video recorder. So I was recording by audio, and and this is the same date that I recovered the audio recorder. So the letter was also photographed, and then later, I think it was taken by the police. I don't know. But
Let me stop you for just a minute.
okay.
You left the letter on the master bed, correct? For the police to find.
I left the letter on the master bed. I didn't know that the police were going to come for it.
Okay. And they ultimately did, correct?
Well, ultimately, I don't know because I wasn't present, so that's beyond my knowledge.
Isn't it true that you moved other things around in that house often?
No, that is not true.
Did you move a computer that you located in the office?
I I don't recall moving a computer in the office, but I did not move it out of the office.
Did you put it in your Tesla?
If you are talking about the C&E computer, I did not find it in the office. That is not how that worked.
Okay, so you found it where, sir?
I found it in possession of my client who had taken it, who had been given it or taken it from Becky Lloyd. So my understanding of the pathway of the C&E computer that I examined was that it was picked up by Becky, who lives nearby and works for C&E. The C&E computer, she then went to get business files off of it. I talked with her about this. I filed an extensive report regarding my interview about the computer. And then before I could get up to Francis to get that computer, I lived at the time 250 miles south of Francis in Washington County, so it takes me a while to get up to Francis. Before I could get up to get that computer, I believed that my client had already secured it, and so I went and got it from her.
So Becky got the computer from the house after Eric died,
Yep.
right?
Correct.
Then Becky gave it to Katie,
Correct.
and Katie gave it to you.
Correct.
And in all of that, no law enforcement ever put hands on it.
Correct.
And at some point, you took it back up to the office to go through it?
No.
Right. Well, there's video of you going through that computer in the office.
Well, I suppose that I may not have remembered that I went through a computer in that office, but the C&E computer was processed at a location in Midway, and I recall that there was a what I want to say is an obvious missing hard drive location. I could see the outlines of a hard drive that had been in place in that computer. I became suspicious that the hard drive had been removed prior to me getting to that computer. I later sourced that missing hard drive to an upgrade that was performed by a computer company at the request of C&E. The hard drive contents were transferred to a solid state drive, and I did locate that inside the computer.
Okay. So can we play for the witness only clip TG10?
We're going to play without sound, right?
Yes, sir. No sounds necessary.
Okay.
I'm going to kind of wait till we get to the computer part. I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Can we bring that one down? That's the next one. We want to go to the one right before that, which is 173. It's GXO 10073. Do you have that one? Okay.
Excuse me, I'm having difficulty keeping my head up.
Oh, no worries. Whatever you need, sir, to be comfortable. Take a minute. Yep, I'll go back to that. It's going to take her a minute to upload that, Your Honor, so we'll get to that. You don't recall putting electronics, documents in your Tesla and driving away from the house?
Oh, I remember that, yes.
Okay.
But that was not the C&E computer.
Okay, what computer was that?
I don't recall. I'd
So-
have to see the video.
So you
That's
were-
why I make them.
You removed a laptop from the office and put it in your Tesla and drove away with it?
I don't recall that, no. I do not. That would have been my, if there was a laptop in that office, it was mine.
Okay, well, we're going to pull it up in just a minute. I'll help
Fantastic.
refresh your memory.
Yeah.
Also, you mentioned earlier that you didn't take, other than the vital records, and the attorney-client privileged records, that you didn't take anything else out of the home. That's not entirely true. You also took a safe out of the house?
Yeah, I described that by report, but that house, that safe was returned.
Okay. So you went into the house with your own key, correct?
Yes,
You went into the family, I believe is in the master closet, is that right? Where was it?
yes,
You picked it up, took it out of the house, and put it in your Tesla.
yes, I believe I did that at the request of Clint Benson.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then you drove it to a locksmith,
I did.
and you busted into the safe.
I did not bust into the safe.
Well, he did.
He bumped. He used a technique called bumping. It's the movement of the door and the frame of the safe that allows it to come open.
Okay. But you didn't have a combination.
I don't know if that was a combination. I thought there was a key to that one.
It was forced open with a hammer, right?
I think it was a rubber mallet, and it was dropped onto the ground.
Okay.
I think that's what eventually got it opened, was that it was dropped onto a flat surface.
And when you were doing that, there's no law enforcement there, correct?
I don't need law enforcement to babysit me.
Okay. And you open it up, and there's clips from guns in there, right?
I would have to go back to my report to recall exactly what was in there.
But you handled it with your bare hands, no gloves.
I did.
All right. And, I'm sorry. You also found an unusual residue in the safe. Do you recall that? That you touched with your fingers?
I don't recall that.
All right. We'll play that in a second.
Fantastic.
I do think we found the video of the laptop, so can we queue up for the witness only GXO10073?
Yeah, that's my laptop. I am scanning into my laptop the documents that I am going through at the office. That is my laptop.
The black one?
Yes.
Okay. So you're scanning all the documents you're finding in the office and then loading them into your laptop.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And again, Clint Benson was not present when you were doing any of this.
Yes, that is my testimony on direct.
Okay. Now let's go to the one of the safe. Can you pull up the clip 100055? Hold on just a moment. 1055. See if you can find that one. Sorry. I think it might be under the impeachment documents. Nope. Okay. All right, we'll get the safe one up to refresh your memory about that residue. You don't remember touching some residue and filming it and asking the safe breaker if that was unusual to find residue in a safe?
I don't recall that. I would have to refer back to the video that I made of that for just this purpose.
Okay, no worries. So my understanding is you were at the house. There were some times before you got access to the house while Ms. Richins was still living there that you would sit outside her house and observe the house while she was in it. Is that fair?
It is not fair. That is false.
You never did that?
I never sat outside her house and watched her. False.
Not on March 9th of 2023?
Correct.
Not on April 12th of 2023?
Correct.
Okay. But you did put trackers on their cars, is that right?
I did.
And that's a secret device that you put on someone's car so you can follow where they're going without their knowledge?
So GPS tracking devices are generally covert, and there's good reason for that. I put GPS devices on Kouri's vehicle and two of Lisa's vehicles, one of which was being used by Kouri's brother, Ronnie.
So her mother's cars and her car.
That is correct.
And how long did you track these individuals?
I think there were different times for different vehicles. I don't recall the exact amount of time, but that'll be in the file that you have.
And did you turn over your reports on every single place they went for months to law enforcement?
Yes.
And you know that law enforcement is required to have a warrant to do that.
Well, They have to get a warrant, and I have to go through a different procedure that's prescribed by Utah law to appropriately place those devices.
Did you track anybody else's car in this case?
I want to say yes. Yes, I did.
Who else's?
There were some vehicles that I suspected that Carmen Lauber may be utilizing, but I discovered that, in fact, the vehicle that was parked at her house overnight on many occasions was being driven by someone else.
So you never gave that report to law enforcement?
I believe I did.
You gave the Carmen Lauber tracking report to law enforcement?
Yes, it wouldn't be named Carmen Lauber, though.
What would it be named?
Oh. I want to say there were a number of people that were associated with her residence.
That's all right. If it's
There was
someone
Nick Bonsavage. There was, another young man who were frequenting that residence. And I believe the vehicle that I tracked from that residence was seen there overnight on multiple occasions.
Okay.
I really don't remember, because the point of that was to track Carmen Lauber. And when I discovered that it wasn't Carmen driving the car, I removed the device.
Okay. Law enforcement was also providing you, I believe you said that Mr. Bloodworth asked you if you got information from law enforcement, and you said no. Is that right?
No, that is not right.
Okay, please correct me.
Well, I would have discussions with law enforcement. I could garner an understanding. I could read between the lines, if you want.
In fact,
say
you
it that way.
went to meetings with law enforcement about this case, didn't you?
Oh, yes.
How many times did you have meetings with them?
I don't recall. I don't count them.
Okay.
The number is not relevant to me.
Well, you appreciate it might be relevant to me? Can you try to remember?
Half a dozen?
Okay. Can you pull up TG 11 for the witness only? Can you make it bigger? All right, sir, do you recognize that? Oh, can you see it?
I can see it.
Do you recognize it?
I do.
All right, and is that an email that you sent to Detective Woody on July 13th of 2022?
I'm going to have difficulty talking about this exhibit, because if it becomes an exhibit, it contains a confidential client communication. But I did send it to Detective Woody.
Okay.
Your Honor, I would object to Mr. Gabler being required to testify regarding any claim.
With respect, I'm not sure you have standing to make any objections, and he seems fully attuned to the issue. Ms. Nestor, I'm not sure where we're headed, so just take it one question at a time.
I shall. Thank you, Your Honor. Is it fair to say that this is an example of you suggesting to Detective Woody that now would be a really good time for law enforcement to interview Carmen Lauber?
Yes.
And why would that be, sir?
She's on the ropes in drug court, is what it says.
Right.
She was on the ropes.
And in fact, what you argued was she would be very likely to be compliant at this point with law enforcement. Is that your words?
Yes.
All right. Also in here, you accuse Kouri of lying about the name of her house cleaner.
Yes.
And the lie that you said Kouri told was that her house cleaner was her cute cleaner, Norma.
Yes,
In fact, didn't you, sir, finally confirm that Norma Garcia was her house cleaner?
I did later confirm that. Yes.
So when you sent this to police and said Kouri was lying, you were wrong.
I was wrong.
Okay.
But prior to Norma,
Your Honor.
Gabler, you need to pause for the next question, sir. Thank you.
very good.
Did law enforcement give you access to I'm going to try to use the right word, to folders where you could access their information on like a subfolder where you had a link to their folder?
No,
Did you provide them with links to your folder?
yes,
And one of the links you provided them involved a download of Eric's phone. Is that right?
no,
Okay. Did it involve the decoded call logs that you talked about earlier where you figured out everybody's number and name?
I'm confused. You're talking about two separate things. You were just talking about Eric's phone.
You said no, right?
I had an identical copy of Eric's phone that I created from the backup on his Apple iCloud. I may have turned that over to them, but they already had Eric's phone. I didn't need to give them what I had done, which was to trick the Apple server into repopulating a blank iPhone so that I could then forensically examine that iPhone and come up with context from Eric's phone. So I may have given them that information that I created from a clone of Eric's phone.
So you had in your possession a clone or an exact copy of Eric Richins' phone.
It would not be an exact copy. Only the items that were unencrypted or decryptable from the Apple backup would be on the cloned phone. For example, encrypted data would not be present for biometrics, for his Apple Watch. If he was wearing a biometric watch, that is all encrypted. That would not come back to a new cloned phone. But all of the text messaging, the web histories, the call histories, all of that stuff will be present on that clone.
So you had access to all his texts?
I don't believe I did.
Why not? And this is maybe a stupid old lady question, but explain to me why you didn't have access to his texts if you downloaded everything off the cloud.
You said all of his texts.
Okay.
I don't believe I ever got all of his texts.
How far back did they go?
I don't recall the date at this time. I would have to refer to the file material to know the exact date of the first event on the phone.
So how much time did you spend reading through his texts?
Well, I don't recall exactly. I could refer back to some records to come up with an answer for you. It would have been a number of hours.
Hundreds of hours?
No.
Okay.
I mean, in this case,
Right.
936.3 hours.
Is how many hours you billed total for the case?
Yep.
And what were you paid for that?
I don't know.
How much do you charge an hour?
$125 an hour. However, that is not the only billing rate in this case. When I used computer forensic software and my expertise in that regard, the rate would be higher. $200 an hour, I think, was the discounted rate that I gave them.
So I'm really bad at math. Please forgive
too.
me if I get this wrong.
Yeah, well, we're both in the same place.
We're talking about over $100,000 you made on this case.
I would say so, yes.
Okay. Now I want to go back to that phone and you reading his texts.
Yes.
As you were culling through your hypotheses,
Yeah.
obviously one of the things you want to look at is the state of their marriage. Is that fair?
I mean, it's significant, but it's not dispositive.
I
It doesn't-
agree.
It's important context, but it's not evidence of anything, really. I see a lot of bad marriages out there. In my career, I've handled many hundreds of divorce cases. So, people have problems.
Did you review text messages between Eric and some of his friends?
Yes?
Did you review text messages between Eric and Bryce?
Bryce Knudsen?
Yes.
I don't recall specifically, but if they were there, I probably looked at them.
Okay. Your Honor, can I have just a moment?
This was sitting here.
When you reviewed Eric's texts, did you find evidence of him sexting with people other than Kouri?
I don't recall that. I did investigate allegations of an affair with Eric.
Okay, but that's not my question. My question is, do you recall seeing sexting, as the kids say, on Eric's phone with
Yeah.
people other than Kouri?
I don't really know what you mean by sexting. I don't know what the parameters of that are. And so my answer is no.
Okay. Did you find any texts where Eric talked about having an open marriage with Kouri?
I don't recall that.
At some point, were you investigating cases that were being prosecuted in the Summit County area around the time that Eric died, where people were caught distributing fentanyl?
Yes.
Did you gather affidavits from cases where fentanyl was being sold in the Summit County area?
Yes.
And did you ever follow up on any of those investigations, or did you just stop by gathering the affidavits?
Well, they were plugged into the hypothesis testing matrix. I considered them for their proximity being in Summit County and for them involving fentanyl. In each of those cases, I found no relationship to this case.
Okay. I want to pull up TG2, Katie, just for this witness only. Sorry, I lied about the time. I'm going a little bit longer, Your Honor. I'm close to done.
No problem.
Sir, do you recognize that?
I do.
Is that what you were talking about with Mr. Bloodworth, which is the decoding where you looked at his call records and tried to figure out who he was calling?
It is the record that I referred to when I was talking about it on direct. I agree with that.
And Katie, could we go to the page for the date 2/14/2022 at 12:23 p.m.? It's a ways down. Just a moment, Your Honor.
Of course.
All right, sir, we've blown up a section. Does that refresh your memory about what you determined a call that was made on December 14th at,
Give me the date one more time.
I'm sorry, February 14th, thank you, Your Honor, at 12:25 p.m.?
Well, this is not a record that I created, but I recognize the format, and it appears to be that Eric Richins' phone had an incoming call at 12:25.
Can you look at the call right above that one?
This is an outgoing call from Eric Richins' phone on March the 9th of 2022. I'm sorry, February the 14th of 2022 at 12:23, 2 minutes before the first record that we talked about, and that is to a different number, 801-473-5058.
So as part of your investigation that you were doing on the mirror phone, you could at least identify a call that was made by Eric at 12:23 p.m. on February 14th, right?
I'm confused. We're looking at an invoice record from a carrier, and you're
Right.
asking me about his phone. Those are two different things.
Did this invoice come from his phone
No,
billing records?
from his carrier, from Verizon.
Right,
That's not a record from his phone. That's a record from his carrier.
I understand.
Two different things.
So according to the bill from his carrier,
Yeah.
he made a call at 12:23 p.m. on February 14th.
Correct.
Okay.
Objection, there's a 901 problem here.
I'm done with it, Your Honor.
Hold on. You got to approach for a moment, if you would.
There's a- Did you ever make any calls or any trips to Mexico as part of your investigation in this case? You mentioned you interviewed 45 to 50 people, somewhere around there, 40 to 50.
Yeah, it's an approximate number. I have no method of calculating that number. It's approximate, based upon my memory.
Did you ever interview Kouri?
I did. I spoke to Kouri. She called me on January the 19th of 2023.
All right. And she voluntarily spoke to you
She called me.
and talked to you voluntarily?
She did, and I stopped her. I told her it would be inappropriate and unethical for me to continue the conversation outside the presence of her lawyer. I then texted her lawyer and had a phone call with her lawyer about the propriety of her client speaking without her presence.
Okay.
I then
So
requested that Kouri submit to an interview multiple times.
All right, stop.
Okay.
Don't reveal what anyone else said to you.
Okay.
The point is, Kouri called you to talk to you and tell you her side, right?
I don't know what her intentions were. She seemed very angry that I had contacted one of her business associates. I believe that was the reason she called me on that date.
Okay. And so you never, to this day, have sat down with Kouri and heard her version of what happened?
No, despite my repeated requests.
Okay. But she called you.
And I was bound by the ethics not to talk to her outside the presence of her lawyer. She was a litigant. She sued my client.
Okay. And ultimately, as you were working with the trust, did you become aware that the trust filed a wrongful death suit against Kouri?
I am.
And are you aware they're seeking over $10 million in damages against Kouri Richins?
I didn't know that. It's irrelevant to me.
Okay. Okay, court's indulgence for just a moment, Your Honor.
Of course.
Your Honor, can I have just one moment? You found it? What's the date? Okay. I asked you whether you recalled seeing any texts with Eric about him and Kouri having an open relationship, and you said you could not recall. Is that right?
Correct.
Can you put that up on the screen, Katie? Do you recall looking at that text?
I do.
You've seen this one?
I believe I have. It's a joke.
It's a joke.
It is. It appears to me to be a joke.
Did you see the text around this text?
I did.
So you have reviewed the text between Eric and Bryce.
I don't know. I don't know that this is a text from Bryce. I have no idea. This does not identify Bryce.
So
Doesn't
now that
identify anybody.
now that you have your memory refreshed, do you remember seeing this text between Eric and another individual saying that Kouri and I are starting an open relationship tonight? Right?
It says, Kouri and I are starting an open relationship tonight, so I told her I'm taking you home.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And you left that out of your report.
No, this would be part of my report.
Did you see sexting between Bryce and Eric when you looked at their texts?
I don't recall that, no.
Katie?
And is this sexting? I don't know what you mean.
No, I'm not talking about this one. I'm
Okay.
talking about other ones.
All right. I don't recall. I'm talking about many hundreds of thousands of messages in this case. I can't recall them all.
Let's see. Just a moment. Court's indulgence for just a moment. Can I show you this other text right here and see if this refreshes your memory? Do you remember seeing a whole bunch of emails like this or texts like this between Eric and Bryce?
Honestly, no, I don't remember. Like I say, there were hundreds of thousands of messages in this case. I don't remember even 1% of them. As I look at this, I mean, it just makes me laugh. It doesn't appear to be serious.
So how many of these joke sextings did you review that Eric did?
I don't understand this to be sexting. I think you're wrong about that. I resist your characterization. These are two friends joking with each other. That's what I'm reading here.
And they did that all the time,
I don't know.
hundreds of times.
If I had the records, and then I could answer your question, but I don't remember all of these messages. And yeah, this is a joke.
Did you review all of the texts between Bryce and Eric?
I think at one time I would have gone through every single text message that was available to me on Eric's cloned phone. So, do I recall it? Well, I mean, I recall that it was a bit mind-numbing. There was a lot there. Nothing particularly stuck out in my mind or memory about those messages.
Did they repeatedly talk about having sex acts together?
I don't recall.
Did they repeatedly talk about oral sex together?
I don't recall.
Did they talk about anal sex together?
Also don't recall.
But you read them all,
I'm sure that I did.
and it's all joking.
Knowing what I know about Bryce and Eric, yeah, that's how I interpret it.
So you do remember reading things of this nature, and you interpreted it all as joking.
No, as I sit here today, I interpret it that way. I would have interpreted it that way back at my original reading of it. That doesn't mean I recall it. It means I have an opinion about what I thought then. That's different.
And what did you think then? They were joking?
No. What I think now is that this was a joke. I do not have a recollection of this at the time that I first read it, but if I had a recollection of that time, I'm sure it would be the same as it is today.
And if there were these tens of 20s of 50s of these types of emails, all of them would be jokes?
Sustained.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Mr. Bloodworth, anything further from Mr. Gabler?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. The text, they're a bunch of to-dos locker room talk from August of 2018.
That was my read of it, yes.
there wasn't any serious read that Eric Richins and Bryce Knudsen were engaged in some homosexual affair?
0.
In all of the text messages you reviewed, did you see any evidence of Eric using illicit street drugs?
No, I looked and I could not find.
You mentioned legal requirements for a licensed private investigator to place a GPS tracker on a car. What are those legal requirements?
So the statute governing that was adopted a few years ago. It requires that before placing the device, a licensed private investigator must identify the person or persons that are driving that vehicle and potentially the owner of that vehicle, and that they submit a request to query the protected persons database in the state of Utah for any record of those persons that are subject to the GPS tracking. That is designed to keep us from tracking people who have protective orders or temporary restraining orders or other lawful processes that define them as a protected person. We cannot track you in that circumstance. We do not have independent access to that database. So we must ask an agency of the state for a yay or nay. Is this person in the protected persons database? We have to do that before we place a device. We have to be certain that we are not tracking a protected person. So I submitted those requests to the appropriate counties of the jurisdictions where I placed these devices. The Summit County Sheriff's Office initially declined my request under the statute. I insisted. I finally got them to comply. I did the same with the Wasatch County Sheriff's Office, and they complied with my request.
Did you conduct your investigation entirely within the bounds of the law?
I believe I did.
Did you conduct your investigation entirely within the ethical bounds of private investigators and the attorneys you were working for in this case?
I believe that I did.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Nestor, anything further for Mr. Gabler?
No, Your Honor.
May we release this witness?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Yes.
Please step safely. You are free to go, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Bloodworth, is this an appropriate time to recess for the day?
It is, Your Honor.
Ms. Nestor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be recessing for the evening. As always, please do not speak about the case. Please do not allow anyone to speak to you about it. Please do not watch, listen, or read anything about the case at all. Please do not do any research about the case. To allow me and the attorneys to talk about some legal issues that hopefully will keep us efficient during the presentation of testimony tomorrow, please be here ready to go at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Thank you for your patience.
All rise for the jury.
Folks, have a seat. Ms. Nestor, Ms. Lewis, Mr. Ramos. In docket, if you would just make a note of this for me. Docket 1555, docket 1555. The state sets forth its understanding of your objections or requests related to the portions of the O'Driscoll interview transcript that you believe should be included under Rule 106 or excluded under various reasons, and the state's understanding of your objections or requests for inclusions related to the jail calls. I understand that to be the last word from the parties. The state presents it as the last word from defense. But if you would take a look at that specifically this evening and come tomorrow morning ready to let me know if you are changing any of those positions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Bloodworth, anything else in anticipation of that discussion?
No, sir.
8:30 tomorrow morning?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Nestor, 8:30 tomorrow morning?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I've reviewed each of those portions of the O'Driscoll transcript. I've reviewed each of the jail calls and recordings that are listed in 1555. I have notes regarding all of that. Anything else I need to be prepared for on those two issues from the state's perspective, Mr. Bloodworth?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Ms. Nestor, anything else on the record today?
No, sir.
Very good. Thank you for your patience. We'll be in recess until 8:30 tomorrow morning.